Let's go. Genesis 12:19. Today, Genesis 12:19. Why did you say, she is my sister? Sister. Sister. Sister.
Sister.
Sister. She's my sister. Why did you say she's my sister? Sister. And I would.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Uh,
How are you?
I'm good. I'm reading the book you can see on the stream. And,
Okay.
and if you want to read too, you can read next verse after me.
Where are you from, Emmanuel? Do you have the same name like me?
Your name?
Yeah.
I don't see your name. I can see it.
My name is Emmanuel too.
Ah.
Like,
It,
yeah. But
actually, it's my nickname because it's the nickname of the writer of this book I read. And it's Emanuel Swedenborg. He lived in Sweden, and he after he lived in England.
mm-hmm.
And this is his book.
What
You
do
can
you
see.
do? What do you do here?
I'm learning English from this book. I read this book, and if I don't know any word, I can translate this word from this application. With this application, I use. It's a good way to learn English. As for me, do you learn English too?
Yeah, I am Argentinian living in Australia now. And I was coming here because I need to practice and learning English. And yeah, I need to practice and learning English. This is the idea.
Yeah, it's a good way to learn English from reading books because I can memorize words I read to improve my lexicon. As for me, it's a good way. When I started to read this book, I was reading slowly, but now I can read faster.
Where is this books? Where is the name of this books?
It's Secrets of Heaven. It's about spiritual meaning. This book. It's about spiritual meaning of the book of Genesis of the Bible. Book of Genesis.
Good. And it's what is the topic about this book?
Topic. I think it's this book is about how can we make the world a better place. Like it's actually it's about building an ideal just society, and this society is the kingdom of God, because it's about God's kingdom, like an ideal just society, because we can say that life is not fair, and it's about the road of injustice in the world.
Good. And Emmanuel, tell me about you. Where are you from?
I cannot say because I don't say it in internet because
okay, that's fine.
I don't like to talk about myself because
that's fine.
I think it's, I believe in virtual reality. In spiritual world, I believe in virtual life, but I don't believe in physical world because it's like an illusion. I think physical world is not real. Only virtual life is real life, in my understanding, because virtual life is like life of our minds. Flesh is nothing. It's nothing. It's like a piece of ground, but mind is everything.
It's the purpose. The purpose of this group is for building a space to talk with another people and practice your English. This is the idea of these groups.
Yeah.
But I respect your opinion about your uh, your decision. You don't say your name or your personal date, but that's fine. It's good. I using this one, this group because not for anything in particular, because but I use it because I find people here uh, with with can I talking with the people here.
Yeah, it's better to talk about topic, yeah, because we have topic here, and we should talk about topic we have, and this topic is about this book. It's not about me because I don't represent myself, but I represent this book and the writer of this book, and that because my nickname is Swedenborg Emanuel, because I don't represent myself. We can talk about his books we read, and to talk about that because it's my purpose, that because
Okay.
I am here.
Excellent.
Let's try maybe. Maybe do you want to read first, or I read first, and you read after me? Okay. Do you see Genesis 12:19? What did you say? She is my sister. And I would have taken her for my woman. And now look, your wife, take her and go. Why did you say she is my sister? Sister means that at the time he was not aware of possessing or possession, yeah, possession. How to pronounce?
Possessing.
Possession, yeah.
Possessing.
Anything but intuitive truth.
Intuitive.
Intuitive, yeah.
Intuitive.
Intuitive. Intuitive. Yeah. But intuitive truth. And I would have taken her for my woman means that in his ignorance he could have abused the truth that was to be wedded to a heavenly quality. And now look, your wife, take her and go means that the truth would be wedded to a heavenly quality. Why did you say she's my sister? Means that at the time he was not aware of possessing anything but intuitive truth. This can be seen from the symbolism of a sister as intuitive truth. Intuitive truth. And from the fact that Abram said these words, as verse 13 shows, this was done so that the heavenly aspect would not be damaged, but preserved. Damaged like destroyed, yeah? Damaged.
Damaged.
Like spoiled, injured, but preserved. This evidence indicates that when the Lord was young and learning factual information at the very first, he fully believed that facts existed only for the sake of his intellectual side. That is, that they existed only to enable him to recognize truth. Later, he discovered that their real purpose was to enable him to reach heavenly goals. Things were done this way in order to prevent the abuse of heavenly attributes and to promote their welfare instead.
Abuse.
Abuse. Like violation. Like curse, desecration, insult. In order to prevent the abuse of heavenly attributes and to promote their welfare instead. While we are learning, we progress from facts to rational truth, then to truth known through higher intuition. Intuition. And finally, to heavenly truth, symbolized here by wife. If we go from facts and rational truth directly to heavenly truth, rather than by means of intuitional, intuitional, then by means of intuitional truth, we do harm to what is heavenly. This is because truth that we arrive at by reasoning on the basis of facts has no link with heavenly truth except through intuitive truth, which stands on between definitions of heavenly truth and intuitive truth appear directly below. Intuitive. Intuitive. Truth appear directly below. To show what the case is here, I need to say something about proper order. The proper order is for the heavenly dimension to act on the spiritual dimension and adapt it to its own purpose. The spiritual dimension should act on the rational and adapt this to its own purposes. And the rational dimensions should act on the factual and adapt this to its own purposes. This is indeed the pattern that we follow in childhood when we are learning, but the appearance is exactly the opposite. We seem to be proceed from facts to rational thinking, from this to spiritual ideas, and finally to heavenly concepts. This is the way it appears, because this is how a path to the heavenly plane, the deepest plane, opens up. All instruction is simply an opening to the path. To the extent that the path opens, or to put it another way, to the extent that the receiving vessels open, these entities flow onto one another in sequence, as noted. Sequence. It's like order. In sequence, as noted. Rational ideas derived from ideas that are simultaneously simultaneously it's like together. Simultaneously heavenly and spiritual flow into facts, then heavenly spiritual ideas flow into rational ones, and heavenly ideas flow into heavenly spiritual ones. The higher types of concept are constantly striking our minds, and they also prepare and form for themselves appropriate vessels which are then opened up. As evidence, consider this: facts and logic are inherently dead, and any appearance that they are alive comes from a deeper life force that flows into them. Anyone can see the same thing clearly from our ability to think or form a judgment. All the secret skills belonging to the art and the science of analytic thinking lie buried in these two abilities, and there are so many skills that not even one in a million can be probed exhaust, ex- exhaustively. Exhaustively can be probed. Is this
Probed.
probed, like examined? Probed. Probed exhaustively.
Exhaustively.
Exhaustively. Like fully.
Exhaustively.
Exhaustively. Can be probed exhaustively. And this is so not only for an adult, but even for young people. All their thoughts and all their words are full of such mysteries, although no one, not even the smartest person, is aware of it. We would never have such hidden skills if the heavenly and spiritual entities that lie deep inside us were not tricking our minds, flowing in, and producing all these effects. It's interesting because children have a great imagination, but because they can be taught. But it's difficult for us to be taught about secrets of the kingdom of heaven because we have not so great imagination as children have. hmm Like all their thoughts and all their words, we read all their, and this is not only for an adult but even for young people. All their thoughts and all their words are full of such mysteries, although no one, not even the smartest person, is aware of it. We would never have such hidden skills if the heavenly and spiritual entities that lie deep inside us were not tricking our minds, flowing in, and producing all these effects. I would have taken her for my woman means that in his ignorance he could have abused the truth that was to be wedded to a heavenly quality, as can be seen from the remarks just above and from earlier remarks at verse 13. In regard to the idea that truth would be wedded to something heavenly, the case is this: viewed in itself, the truth that we learn when we are young is just a vessel designed for the infusion of a heavenly essence. Truth has no life in its own, only from the heavenly dimension that enters into it. The heavenly dimension is love and charity. This is the source of all truth. And since all truth comes from this source, truth is nothing but a kind of vessel. Truth also plainly displays itself as a vessel in the other world. Once again, it's like You should understand it. Viewed in itself. The case is this. The case is this. Viewed in itself. The truth that we learn when we are young is just a vessel designed for the infusion of a heavenly essence. Essence. Truth has no life in its own, only from the heavenly dimension that enters into it. The heavenly dimension is love and charity. This is the source of all truth. And since all truth comes from this source, truth is nothing but a kind of vessel. Truth also plainly displays itself as a vessel in the other world. In that world, people never regard truth from the viewpoint of truth, but from that of the life within it. In other words, they regard it from the point of view and viewpoint. Viewpoint. What is your viewpoint of heavenly traits, which are traits of love and charity within the truth? These traits cause truth to be heavenly and to be called the heavenly truth. This evidence now shows that intuitive truth is. It also demonstrates that for the Lord, intuitive truth opened the path to heavenly qualities. Factual truth, rational truth, and intuitive truth are three separate things which come one after the other. Factual truth is the product of secular knowledge. Rational truth is factual truth logically proved. Intuitive truth is truth united to an inner perception that the thing is so. The Lord received this kind of truth while he was still young, and in him it opened the path to heavenly qualities. Now look, your wife, take you and go means that the truth would be wedded to heavenly quality. This can be seen from the symbolism of a wife as truth that needs to be united with something heavenly. Symbolism demonstrated earlier at verses 11 and 12, and from the statements just above. Genesis 12:20. And Pharaoh gave orders concerning Abram to his men, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. Pharaoh gave orders concerning Abram to his men, and they sent him away, means that the facts the Lord knew deserted him, and his wife means that the same thing happened to the truth that was united with heavenly traits, and all that he had symbolizes everything related to heavenly truth. Pharaoh gave orders concerning Abram to his men, and they sent him away means that the facts the Lord knew deserted him. This can be seen from the symbolism of Pharaoh as scholarly learning and from the symbolism of man as properties of the intellect, a symbolism demonstrated earlier. Here, because the men are mentioned in connection with Pharaoh or learning, they symbolize intellectual things that are relevant to education. To say more about the way the facts the Lord knew deserted him, when heavenly attributes form a bond with truth known through intuition, and the truth becomes heavenly, anything that it is superfluous. Superfluous. What is this? Superfluous.
Superfluous.
Superfluous. Unnecessary. Superfluous. Automatically disappears. Automatically. Automatically.
Automatically.
Automatically disappears. Automatically. This is an intrinsic feature of heavenly things. Intrinsic feature. Intrinsic like inner, I think.
Intrinsic.
Yeah, internal. Internal, innate, typical.
Typical.
Intrinsic feature of heavenly things. His wife means that the same thing happened to the truth that was united with heavenly traits. That is to say, the facts he knew deserted this truth. This can be seen from the symbolism of a wife as truth united to what is heavenly mentioned above, and also from the remarks just made. Useless facts leave when heavenly concepts arrive, just as foolish ones do when wisdom arrives. They are like shells of scales that slough. What is this?
Slough.
Slough. It's like slough. I can explain that slough of spontaneously. Maybe slough of, like phrasal verb.
Slough off.
Yeah, slough of spontaneously. Shells of scales that slough spontaneously. Shells of scales.
Shells or scale.
Shells or scales. Scales. That slough spontaneously. The symbolism of all that he had as everything related to heavenly truth now follows from the above. These remarks now make it clear that Abram's stay in Egypt simply represents and symbolizes the Lord, and specifically the education he received when he was young. The following saying in Hosea offers further confirmation. Out of Egypt I called my child. Still further confirmation appears in the following words in Moses. The residents of the children of Israel who resided in Egypt 430 years, and it happened at the end of 430 years, and it happened on that same day that all the armies of Jehovah left the land of Egypt. These years were counted not from the time of Jacob's entry into Egypt, but from that of Abram's stay there, from which time 430 years had passed. So the child out of Egypt referred to in Hosea 11:1 symbolizes the Lord and in an inner sense. Still further confirmation comes from the fact that in the word the sole function of Egypt is to symbolize scholarly learning, as shown in. The presence of these secrets can also be seen from the fact that similar things are said of Abram, that he called his wife his sister during his stay in Philistia, similar things are said of Isaac as well, that he called his wife his sister when he too stayed in Philistia. And these stories involving almost the same circumstances would never have been recounted in the word if the kind of secrets mentioned had not lain hidden in them. That is more, this is the Lord's word, which has no life whatsoever. Whatsoever. What is what whatsoever? What is this?
Whatsoever.
Like any. Mhm. No life whatsoever in it, if it does not contain an inner meaning that focuses on Him. The secrets that lie buried here and in the stories about Abram and Isaac in Philistia tell how the Lord's human quality came together with his divine quality, or to say the same thing another way, they tell how the Lord became Jehovah down to his human nature as well. They also reveal that the process started when he was young, which is the subject here. In addition, these verses involve much more hidden information than anyone could ever believe. The amount that can be expressed, however, is so small that it hardly amounts to anything. Besides the deep mysteries concerning the Lord, the chapter also includes secrets about our own education and rebirth as heavenly people, and about our education and rebirth as spiritual people.
What is that?
It's a book. I'm reading the book. This is Secrets of Heaven by Manuel Swedenborg. You can see this book. This is this book. And rebirth as heavenly people and about our and if someone wants to read, okay. Rebirth as spiritual people, it deals with those processes as they occur not only in the individual specifically, but also in the church generally. Then too, it contains secrets about the education of children in heaven. In short, it describes the instruction of every one who is becoming Lord's image and likeness. These things show only in their meaning, not in the literal meaning, since the historical details overpower and
Eclipse.
eclipse. Eclipse. What is eclipse?
The eclipse is when the moon hides the sun.
Mhm. Okay,
So it
thank you.
means here to shadow something or to overshadow.
Mhm. Next chapter, perception and orders in the other life. Continued. In the other life, as mentioned, one individual recognizes another's character as soon as that other approaches, even if she or he says nothing. This experience reveals the fact that our inward reaches are somehow active, although we are unaware of it. In that, their activity enables others to perceive what kind of spirit we are. I was able to see the truth of this by observing that the aura of this actually activity not only radiates far and wide, but sometimes, when the Lord allows, makes itself perceptible in various ways. In addition, I learned how we acquire these auras, which become so tangible in the other world. To put it in comprehensible terms, take the example of people who have formed an opinion of themselves as superior to others. They eventually develop the habit and the instinct. So, what is tangible? Tangible, like material. Tangible.
Tangible.
Tangible. Tangible. Tangible. Like material. Tangible. Palpable, tangible, visible. Tangible. Which becomes so tangible in the other world. To put it in comprehensible terms, take the example of people who have formed an opinion of themselves as superior to others. They eventually develop the habit and the instinct. So to speak or focusing on themselves whenever they see other people or talk to them wherever they go. They do so consciously, so that they themselves become blind to it. Still, the habit governs every one of their gestures and words, just as it governs every one of their feelings and thoughts. This is something we are capable of noticing in others. Noticing. No,
Noticing.
Noticing. Are capable of noticing in others. Such a trait is what creates an aura in the next life, and others perceive the aura, but no more often than the Lord allows. The same is true with other attitudes as well. As a result, there are as many auras as there are moods and combinations of moods, which are countless. Countless, yeah.
Wonderful.
What? Sorry.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Mood.
It's like mood. Attitude, maybe. Combinations of mood, which are countless. Our aura is like an image of ourselves projected outside us. In fact, it is an image of everything inside us. What presents itself to view or to perception in the world of spirits, however, is only a general approximation. In heaven, on the other hand, our character is recognized in a more specific way. No one but the Lord, though, knows what we are like down to the smallest details. Let me relate several experiences illustrating the nature of auras. A certain spirit I had known and talked to, when he lived in his body, later appeared many times in the company of evil spirits, because he had a high opinion of himself. He had developed an air of superiority to others, and because he was like this, the other spirits suddenly fled, so that none but he could be seen. He then filled up his whole environment in all directions, and the atmosphere was one of concentration on himself. Soon afterward, abandoned by fellow members of his own community as well, he sunk into another state, Those in the other life who are deserted by the community in which they live seem to become half dead at first. At that point, the only thing that keeps them alive is the influence of heaven on their inward capacities. Then he began to complain and to suffer. Other spirits later told me that they could not stand to have him near, because he considered himself more important than anyone else. Eventually, having formed ties with a new community, he rose high up and consequently seemed to himself to be governed the universe all alone. Those are the length, how to pronounce? Lengths.
Lengths.
Lengths. Those are the lengths. Those are the lengths. Those are the lengths. Those are the lengths to which self-love inflates our pride when left to itself. Inflates. Like pump. Fill up. Our pride when left to itself. Afterward, he was thrown down among hellish spirits. Such is the lot that awaits those who consider themselves greater than others, more than any other love. Self-love is opposed to mutual love, which is the life of heaven. There was one person who in bodily life had viewed himself as greater and wiser than others, although in other respects he had been honorable enough, but holding other people in contempt on that account. Contempt.
Contempt.
Contempt. It's like disgrace, insult, contempt. Because he had been born to high position. However, he had developed an air of prestige and power. Prestige. And power. As such, he came to me and for a long time said nothing. I noticed, though, that he was surrounded by a kind of fog which drifted out from him and started to envelop our other spirits and then to distress them. Speaking to me from inside it, they said that they could not possibly stay there, that they were being robbed of all freedom, so that they did not dare to say anything. He too began to talk and addressed them, calling them his children and at various times instructing them, but always with the authority that he had acquired. This experience showed me what an aura of personal power is like in the other world. I had many opportunities to observe that people who had been endowed with the highest positions in the world inevitably took on an air of authority as a result. Consequently, they were unable to hide it or cast it off in the other life. In the ones who have received the gift of faith and of love for others, the air of authority combines in a miraculous way with one of benevolence. What is this? Benevolence. Benevolence, like favor, goodwill, grace, kindness, mercy. Benevolence, so that it disturbs no one. In fact, well-mannered spirits also offer them a kind of corresponding difference Difference.
Deference.
No, it's deference. Deference is like reverence, respect. I thought it's a difference, but a deference. Deference. The atmosphere they give off is not a dictatorial one. Dictatorial.
Dictatorial.
Dictatorial. Dictatorial. Dictatorial.
Dictatorial.
Dictatorial. The atmosphere they give off is not a dictatorial one. Dictatorial. It is just an aura natural to them because they were born that way. Since they are good and since they work at shedding the aura, after a certain amount of time they succeed. The several days I had with me the kind of spirits who had not concentrated at all on the good of society when they lived in the world, but on themselves. They had been useless so far as political office goes, and their only goal had been to live sumptuously.
Sumptuously.
Sumptuously. Sumptuously. It's like luxuriously.
Sumptuously.
Sumptuously. Sumptuously. Had been to live sumptuously. 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 To wear glamorous clothes.
Glamorous.
Glamorous.
You know.
Wear glamorous clothes. Sorry, what?
No.
Glamorous. Sumptuously. And their only goal had been to live sumptuously, wear glamorous clothes, and grow rich. They were used to putting up pretenses to finding means of warming their way in everywhere by various kinds of flattery. Putting up pretenses.
Pretenses.
Like you're learning formal words.
Yeah, I'm learning from synonyms because if I don't know any word, I translate from synonyms.
I got it.
Do you learn English too?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I am learning English from this book I read.
Really?
Yeah. And
Is
if
that
you
the
want,
only book? Go on, man.
yeah, and if you want to read, you can read next section after me.
Swedenborg.
Better off not.
He's a writer of this book. It's Secrets of Heaven by Manuel Swedenborg. This book.
Swedenborg.
What's it
I'm
all
really
about?
happy to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. I'm reading here. It's like it's about rich people and their only goal had been to live sumptuously.
What does it mean?
Sumptuously. It's like luxuriously. In luxury.
Sumptuously.
Yeah, see.
Sumptuous.
By the way, I'm Russian.
Richly, luxuriously, magnificently, excellently. Being to live sumptuously. Wear glamorous, clothes. Glamorous clothes and grow rich. They were used to putting up pretenses to finding means of worming their way in everywhere by various kinds of flattery and to what is this? Viewing.
God damn,
What it
that's a
means?
weird ass word.
Vying.
Vying. It's like compete.
Yeah, see.
Compete.
I understand Russian. It's written right there in Russian.
Do you understand Russian language?
Yeah. I'm a native Russian speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Russian language too. But actually, when I translate, I try not
Not to look at it.
see, not see it
Yeah.
at Russian, but I try to memorize synonyms and translate from synonyms, like compete. But if I don't know synonyms, I can see Russian translation. Compete.
I'm looking at the translation because, like, I know that I'm not gonna use these words never in my life because, like, they're kind of old, you know. I've never heard them before. By the way, do you think Native Americans understand these words?
Yeah, of course. They understand.
Damn, they're weird.
Vine. For office, it's Vine. Yeah, Vine. Yeah.
Vying.
Vine. For office with the sole purpose of making themselves visible and taking charge of their overlord's resources. Anyone engaged in any serious
Yeah.
how to pronounce this word? Serious, yeah?
Serious.
Listen.
Serious.
Yeah, serious. In any serious kind of work, they regarded with contempt. They had been courtiers. I perceived what is courtiers. They had been courtiers.
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 What does it mean?
It's like servants of king.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
are in his palace.
Uh-huh.
I perceived the effect they had was to sap me of all my energy. Sap me of all my energy. What is sap? Sap.
Yeah. By the way, can I read the next page?
Sap.
Do you want to read?
Yeah.
Okay, you can read from next page from this section.
Yeah.
To sap. What is sap? Sap like undermining. Undermining. Maybe fool. To sap me. They had was to sap me of all my energy and to make it burdensome for me to act on or think about anything worthwhile, anything true or good, so terribly burdensome. I know what is burden and I know what is some, but it's like one word.
Burdensome.
Yeah, I don't know what burden means. I always wondered.
Burdensome like heavy. Burdensome. That in the end I hardly knew what to do. When spirits like this come among other spirits, they infect them with a similar sluggishness, or sluggish, sluggishness. This sluggish, yeah.
Sluggishness.
Yeah, sluggishness.
Sluggishness.
It's like slowness, stagnation, sluggishness. In the other life, they are useless members of society and are rejected wherever they go. Okay, you can read from this
Yeah, man.
section.
Every spirit, and to a greater extent, every community of spirit has its own aura, formed from and given off by the assumptions and self-deception that it has adopted. Demons have an aura formed by their ionings.
Longing.
Oh man, yeah.
Do you
Fucked it
know what
up.
is longing?
I feel what it means, but I don't know exactly.
Longings may be like desires.
Longings.
Longings.
I didn't know. You can
Go
go
on.
on. I'm
I
done with
finished.
reading. Yeah, man. Just read one section. That's enough, I think.
Section, no. One section is like from before next section. Do you see next section?
Oh, damn.
1511.
Okay,
Actually,
then I can keep reading, I think.
you can continue if you can.
Yeah. By
Go
its
ahead.
inherent nature, when one person's aura of assumptions, self-deceptions influences another person, it makes truth appear to be false. It also stirs up all kinds of supportive ideas, so that it convinces the person to accept falsity as true and evil as good. This fact made it clear to me how easily we can become entrenched in falsity and evil unless we believe that the truth has come from the Lord. Such auras are denser or thinner depending on the nature.
Thinner, denser, and dense. Like what is denser? Like stupid. Because like my people are dense. Yeah.
Denser.
No, dense is like thick, tight, thick. And thinner, denser or thinner. Yeah, thinner,
Thinner.
thinner. It's like thin. It's from
And yeah,
thin, denser or thinner, depending on the nature.
yeah, depending on nature of the falsities. These auras are completely out of harmony with the auras of spirit who subscribe to the truth. If the two kinds of aura come near each other, was breaks out. If the atmosphere of, fal- of falsity is permitted to win, the good spirits come into the mess of trial and anguish.
Times,
What does it
times,
mean, anguish?
times. How did you say this word? It's about
Times.
time. Yeah, times. Anguish, like maybe angry, or
Damn.
Anguish.
it's like no torment. Torment.
Yeah, I will
Anguish.
never know. I also perceived an atmosphere of disbelief in which people accept nothing that is said and scarcely even what is in plain sight. I press I perceive the atmosphere of those who believe nothing but what they can grasp with their senses. In addition, I saw someone dressed in dark clothing sitting near a mill, apparently milling for. At his side appeared
Flower,
a little mirror.
million flower.
Yeah, like, do you know what it
Flower.
means?
It's like two. It's from grain. Yeah, flower.
Flower.
Million.
Then what that
Million.
meant like a
Milling.
taste flower.
grinding, like grinding flour, milling, grinding.
Grinding.
Grinding. Apparently milling flour, near mill.
Yeah,
Mill like where we can mill flour.
at his side
It's like a
appeared a little mirror. Later I saw certain products of his disordered imagination, which were surprisingly wispy. I wondered who he was, but it came to me and said that he was the person sitting by.
what is wispy? Wispy.
Damn.
Wispy.
Wispy. It's like thin. Wispy.
Yeah, yeah. These
And
words are so old, that thing.
surprisingly wispy.
Yeah.
Wispy.
Wispy.
Wispy. Person sitting by.
Sitting by the mill, and they had processed the idea that absolutely everything was simply hallucination, and nothing was real, which why he ended up in this position. Yeah, finished.
Thank you. I'll read next. And much experience has taught me to recognize as clearly as I recognize anything that spirits who are caught up in falsity influence our thinking and thoroughly convince us that falsity is true. We cannot see it any other way, and this results from their aura. Demons, too, who are immersed in evil, influence our will in this way and cause evil to seem utterly good. We cannot feel it any other way, and this again results from their aura. I have had 1,000 opportunities to perceive clearly the influence of each group, to tell who it came from, how angels working for the Lord removed the effects, and many other details besides, which cannot well be listed individually. From this I could see two things with such certainty that nothing has ever seemed more certain to me. One is where the falsity and evil in us come from. The other is the fact that false assumptions and the desire for evil give rise to these auras that stay with us after physical life has ended and that display themselves so openly.
Yeah, my next.
Yeah. Who is next? Okay.
Yeah. When hallucinatory auras present themselves to view, they look like clouds, thicker and thinner, according to the nature of the hallucination. There is a kind of foggy crack under the left foot in the region of the pre-flu people, and they spend their lives beneath it. Its fogginess is due to their hallucination and what? Keeps.
And keeps. You
Yeah, did
said
you
this word.
understand everything? Yeah, I want to know about this word too.
You said flute. It's flood.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Pre-flood.
Do you see transcription?
Pre-flood.
Flood. Flood is it's about water.
Yeah.
Like great water, it's flood, not flute. Flute is like.
Holy shit.
It's about hallucinations. Yeah, the nature of the hallucination.
Them at a distance from everyone else in the other world. People who have lived lives of hatred and revenge give off auras of a type that causes fainting and induces vomiting. These auras are essentially poisonous. I am accustomed to examining them for their toxicity and thickness.
Toxicity.
Toxicity.
Yeah, man.
Toxicity.
Toxicity.
Yeah, toxicity. Yeah, you're correct.
Toxicity.
Toxicity.
Toxicity and thickness by means of all kind of dusky blue ribbon. As these ribbons evaporate, the aura also shrinks.
Ribbon.
Ribbon.
Ribbon, like tape. Band.
What is this? Oh, yeah, tape.
Evaporate. What is this? Evaporate.
Like,
Ribbons.
damn, I knew
Evaporate.
that it meant that.
Disappear. Evaporate.
Do you know what vape means?
Vape? Where is it?
No, it's not here on the page. It's not here. Like a vape, like
vape. Yeah, I know
yeah,
what is vape. Yeah, it's okay. It's like evaporate. When
yeah,
you smoke vape,
making clouds.
the smoke evaporate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Also shrinks.
Your turn.
One of those who are called lukewarm. Lukewarm. What is this lukewarm?
Lukewarm.
Lukewarm. It's like in the middle between hot and cool. Cold. Lukewarm.
You can just call it
Lukewarm.
worm.
Lukewarm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, it's like warm too. Warm and cool. Okay. Lukewarm. Who are called lukewarm came to me, acting as though he had repented. It did not feel like a trick, although I would have thought that he was hiding something inside. But the spirits were saying that they could not stand to have him near, that they were feeling the same sensation you feel when you are about to vomit, and that he was one of those who needed to be spat out. It's like about vomiting.
Spat.
Spat. Like spit. Spat.
Spat.
To be spat out. It's like phrasal verb. Spat out. Yeah.
Spat out.
Spat out.
Spit.
It's like vomiting.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Later, he started saying unspeakable things and was unable to stop, no matter how much pressure was put on him not to talk that way. Next.
Yeah. So like, are we the only people who are gonna be reading, or there are people who want to read too?
Yeah, who wants to read? You can read.
Kankan? Okay, I'm gonna read.
Go ahead.
Auras also present themselves to the sense through odors, which spirits are much more keenly sensitive to that people on earth are. In fact, auras correspond to smell, amazingly enough. Some people have indulged in humbug,
What is
which has,
this?
yeah, what
Humbug.
is it?
Humbug.
Humbug. It's like
Humbug.
Scam, pretense, deceiver, nonsense. It's like foolish something. Humbug.
A humbug, which has given them their character. Yeah. When their auras is turned into a smell, it stings like vomit. Some have learned to speak like elegantly in order to impress others with everything they say. When their aura takes on an odor, it resembles the smell of burned bread. Some have indulged in mere physical pleasures without developing any neighborly love or any faith, their aura smells like excrement. The same is true of those who have carried out a life filled with adultery, although their stench is even worse. Some will live lives of intense hatred and like
vengefulness.
vengefulness and of cruelty. When their aura is turned into a smell, it reeks like a corpse. The smell of rats wafts from those who have been disgustingly greedy. The smell of household vermin breathes from those.
Vermin. Household vermin. What is this? Vermin?
Vermin.
Vermin. It's like evil spirits, maybe predator.
Predator.
Okay. Vermit. And wafts. Wafts. Yeah, it's like blow, wave.
Wafts.
Wafts. Wafts. And reeks. It reeks like a corpse. What is reeks?
Probably smells.
Reeks.
Yeah. Stench.
Yeah.
Strong smell. Reeks. Okay. Reeks. Drifts from those.
Yeah. From those who have persecuted the innocent. These smells cannot be picked up by any earthly person except one whose inner sense have been open to allow companionship with spirits.
I perceived the aura of stench from a certain woman who later joined a group of Syrians, and the stench emanated from her wherever she went for a period of several days. The spirit said that the reek was almost lethal, but still the woman herself did not smell it at all. Syrians have essentially the same foul smell, since their inner depths are revolting. Revolting. What is this?
Revolting.
Disgusting like this. Revolting. Although their outer looks are mostly attractive and fetching. Attractive and fetching. Fetching like attractive, I think, too. Yeah.
Fetching.
Fetching. It's like enchanting.
Enchanting.
I think I heard this word before, probably.
Fetching, yeah? I didn't hear this word, fetching. For more about them, see section. Surprisingly, Syrians in the other Syrians. Maybe we can see picture to see picture. Maybe Syrians.
Sirens, like
it's like they see in the sea. Yeah, like it's like mythology. Yeah, Syrians. Yeah, Syrians. Okay.
oh, I thought it was like a siren. You know what it means?
Sirens. Yeah, sirens, not Sirens. Siren.
Sirens.
Yeah, sirens. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
Sirens in the other world catch on quickly to everything there and see how things stand better than others do, even in regard to doctrinal matters. Their whole focus, however, is to turn what they learn into magic and seize power over others. They enter into good people's feelings by a pretense of virtue and truth, but their nature is nevertheless as described. This shows that doctrine is worthless unless we become what it teaches us to become, that is, unless our goal is to use it in our lives. Besides, hellish spirits count among their number many people who displayed more skill at doctrinal questions than others. People who have lived a charitable life, though, are all in heaven. Next.
My turn, right?
Mhm.
I talked with some spirits about the sense of taste. They said that they had no sense of taste, but something else that allowed them to recognize flavor, which they compared to smell, although they could could not describe it. This recalled to my mind the fact that taste and smell come together in a third faculty, as can be seen from animals, which find their food by scent. The scent reveals to them whether a thing is their proper food and good for them.
Scent. Food by scent. What is this scent? Ah,
Scent.
smell too.
Scent.
Mhm. Smell has a lot of synonyms. Scent. The scent is. I once smelled a wine smell and learned that it came from those who ingra- ingratiate. Ingratiate. Yeah, what is this? Ingratiate.
Ingratiate.
But transcription is like ingratiate.
The
Ingratiate.
synonym is
Maybe
earn.
maybe we can see in dictionary. We can hear in dictionary pronunciation in American, because this dictionary has American pronunciation.
Don't think so.
Ingratiate.
Ingratiate, yeah.
Ingratiate.
Yeah, ingratiate. I was saying ingratiate, yeah. Ingratiate.
Mhm.
Ingratiate. It's like, I forgot. It's like earn. Ingratiate. Okay. Themselves with others in a spirit of affability and bona fide love. What is this affability? Bona fide love. It's like not English.
Affability.
Affability. It's like friendliness.
Affability.
Affability. Cordially.
Cordiality.
Cordiality. Affability and bona fide love. What is bona? It's like,
Bona.
it's English word. Bona. Like conscient, conscious. How to say conscious?
Conscientious.
Conscientious. Conscientious. Bona fide love. What is fide?
Fide.
Damn.
I don't know what is fide. Maybe it's not English fide. Maybe in dictionary you can see fide. Fide.
Fideism.
Fideism. It's from fideism. Reliance of faith rather than reason in pursuit of religious truth. Okay, I don't know what it means. Bona fide love, so that their compliments also contain some truth. This fragrance has many variations and arises from an atmosphere of polished charm. Polished charm. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
When heavenly angels are present with the body of a dead person who is to be revived, the smell of the body turns into a sweet fragrance, and once evil spirits smell it, they cannot come close. Okay, man, now I gotta like go.
Mm. Yeah, your reading is very well.
Thank you. Yeah, man, catch you around. See ya.
I see you. Goodbye. Who wants to read next? Maybe. Okay. I'll finish this, and we can read next section together. Okay, I'll finish this because it's short. When an aura of charity of faith is perceived as a smell, it yields intense pleasure. The smell is sweet, like the smell of flowers, of lilies, of different types of perfume, with unlimited variety. An angel's aura can also be displayed visibly as an atmosphere of nimbus. What is nimbus?
Nimbus.
Nimbus. It's like radiance. Atmosphere of nimbus, and these are so beautiful, so sweet, and so full of variety that they could never be described. However, although I have been talking about the way a spirit's inner dimensions can be perceived through auras radiating from and generated by the spirit, and through smells too, it needs to be known that these indicators do not display themselves all the time. In addition, the Lord modifies them in various ways to keep a spirit's character from lying open to others' view all the time. Okay, who wants to read next section, next chapter? Genesis 13.
I can read.
Yeah. Hello, and go ahead.
Genesis 13, the life in which angels live. Every sense but tastes sweeter and richer and in spirits and angels than it can ever be in people on earth, as has been made clear to me many times. Not only can angels see and interact with each other, finding their greatest happiness in mutual love, as they do, they also have more to see in their surroundings than you could ever believe. The world of spirits and the heavens are full of representative objects like the ones the prophets saw. And these objects are so, how to read this one?
Oh, inspiring. What is this?
Inspiring.
Oh, inspiring. It's like
Oh,
maybe oh, maybe oh.
Inspiring.
It's not understandable. Okay.
that anyone whose eyes were simply open to gaze on them for a few hours could not help being dumbfounded. The light in heaven,
Dumbfound. What is this?
the
Dumbfounded.
Dumbfounded.
It's like stunned, dumbfounded. It's like shocked, maybe.
Stunned.
Stunned, shocked,
mhm.
dumbfounded. The light in heaven is.
Such that it outshines even the noonday light of our solar system by an unbelievable amount. The inhabitants of heaven do not receive any light from this world, however, because they are too high or too deep for the reach of the truth is light from the Lord, who is their sun. Even the noonday light of the world is like thick darkness to angels. When they have the opportunity to look at worldly light, it is as if they were looking another darkness. This I have learned from experience. This shows the difference between heaven's light and the world's light.
Go on, because
Okay.
it's short. You can read before maybe several sections.
I have seen the light that spirits and angels live in so many times that it no longer gives me pause. Post.
Pause.
Having been pause, yeah.
Pause. It's pause, yeah? Pause.
Pause.
Pause. Like stop, break.
Yeah, gives me pause, having become quite familiar to me. Citing all my experience would take too long, though. So let me relate just a few examples. I was taken into the dwellings of good spirits and an angelic spirit several times in order to learn what their light was like. There I saw not only the spirits but the things surrounding them as well. I also saw babies and mothers bathed in a light of the greatest possible brilliance and radiance.
Bathed. Bathed. Bathed or based?
Bath.
They've.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Bath.
They've.
Bathed.
Yeah.
Like swim. Bathed.
Not
Wash.
like kind of like swimming, I guess, but not really.
Possible brilliance and radiance.
An intense flame dropped into view unexpectedly, powerfully dazzling not only my physical sight but also my inner vision. Soon a dark spot, like a dusky cloud with something earth-like about it. When I wondered about it, I was thought that the light among angels in heaven is just as bright compared to the light in the world of spirits. Although spirits also live in light, there is a comparable difference between the two, like the light, the understanding and wisdom of angels is greater than that of spirits, and not just the understanding and wisdom, but everything that comes from understanding and wisdom, such as speech, thought, joy, and gladness, because these correspond to the light. As a result, I was able to see how much more perfect angels are than people on earth, whose darkness is even greater than that of spirits. I was shown the glow that those who belong to a certain inner region of the face live in. Is it live in?
Live in. Yeah. Live. It's the verb.
Live.
Like dwell. Live. In a region of the face. Because what is the subject here? Subject. I, I was shown the glow that those who belong to a certain inner region of the face. Yeah. Subject. I think those subject here, those who belong to a certain region of the face is the subject. It's like syntactic analysis, yeah. And live is predicate here. It's the verb.
Yeah.
Because it's not live, it's live.
It was a globe beautifully dappled with rays of golden flame for the benefit of those who respond to what is good, and with rays of silvery light for those who respond to what is true. Sometimes they are
What is depth of depth? Beautifully.
Dappled.
Dappled. Dappled. Like speckled. Dappled. For example, like cat, dappled. Cat is dappled. It's like color.
sometimes they are also able to see the sky, but not the sky that appears to our eyes. To their eyes, the sky is represented as being resplendent with teeny stars. The reason there is such a difference in the level of light is that all good spirits in the first heaven, all angelic spirits in the second heaven, and all angels in the third, as a whole, are divided into heavenly ones and spiritual ones. The heavenly ones are those who love what is.
What is resplendent? Resplendent.
Resplendent.
Resplendent, like shining, brilliant. Resplendent. And teeny or tiny?
Tiny, I guess.
Tiny.
Tiny. Tiny is like small.
Yes.
Tiny. Who love what is.
What is good? The spiritual ones are those who love what is true. I guess I'm done.
Okay, thank you. I was drawn away from trivial ideas, trivial uncored. What is uncored? Unchord, maybe.
Anchored.
Yeah, anchored. Anchored. It's like fixed. Ideas anchored in the body so that my attention could be kept on spiritual ideas. Then there appeared the vivid gleam of a diamond, bright light, and this lasted fairly long. I cannot describe the light in any other way because it resembled something diamond-like, gleaming in each minuscule, maybe
Minuscule.
minuscule. It's like small, minuscule element. As long as I was kept in that light, I perceived all worldly and body-centered miniature,
Minutiae.
minutiae,
Minutiae.
minutiae, maybe in dictionary pronunciation, minutiae,
Minutia.
minutia, minutia,
Minutiae.
minutiae. Okay, minutiae, minutiae, yeah, minutiae. Minutiae has been a long way below me. Maybe to see this in web picture. Minutiae. Minutiae. Wow.
Mozart, listen, please.
It's like fingerprint. Okay. What? What are you saying? Sorry. Minutiae has been a long way below me. The experience taught me what bright light people enjoy. Hey, what are you doing? Why do you play music here? Because I'm reading the book. Hey man, what are you doing? Why do you play music? You try to bother me?
What?
I
No,
mean,
I
why do you
don't try to
play music
bother you.
here? Because I'm reading the book, but your music.
Sorry, man. I leave.
Perceived all body and bodily centered minutia has been a long way below me. Minutia. Minutia.
Minutiae.
Minutiae. Minutiae. Minutiae has been a long way below me. The experience taught me what a bright light people enjoy when they withdraw from matter-based thinking and immerse themselves in spiritual ideas. I have seen the light that shines on spirits and angels so many other times as well that if all my experience were to be recounted, they would fill pages and pages. When it pleases the Lord, good spirits appear to others and also to themselves as shining stars whose radiance matches the quality of the spirit's charity and faith. evil spirits. Sorry, what? I'm reading the book. You can see on the stream. The quality of the spirits, charity and faith. Evil spirits, though, resemble little balls of coal fire. Sometimes among evil spirits alive, devoted to the fulfillment of one's sensual desires, resembles a coal fire. Coal fire. This semblance. What is this semblance?
Semblance.
Semblance, like likeness.
Wow.
Semblance.
Sendo consume. Sendo consume. What app is this?
It's a Readera.
Huh?
This is a Readera application. This semblance of fire is what. If you want to read, you can read next verse.
Are you premium? Premium? In this app.
Sorry, I don't understand. Say that again. What?
Are you premium in this app?
No, it's not premium. It's free version.
Oh, read era.
Readera. This semblance of fire is what the vitality of the Lord's love and mercy turns into when it flows into them. The vital energy of their hallucinations, on the other hand, looks like the light that comes from such a fire. A dim light. Sorry, what are you saying?
I couldn't find the application.
It's Android. Android application. Readera, type in Play Market.
Wait.
The vital energy of their hallucinations, on the other hand, looks like the light that comes from such a fire, a dim light with no range whatever. When the living energy of mutual love approaches, the pseudo-fire is snuffed out and turns cold, while the weak light from it goes dark. Evil spirits pass their lives in the dark, astonishingly. Some of them even love darkness and abominate light. Abominate light. Abomination, like
Abominate.
disgusting. Abominate light. Astonishingly. What is this?
Astonishingly.
Like amazingly. Astonishingly. People. Do you want to read maybe from this? People know perfectly well in heaven, though not as well in the world of spirits, where such great light comes from the Lord. Remarkably, in the third heaven, the Lord appears to heavenly angels as a son and to spiritual angels as... Sorry, what? Do you want to read? To spiritual angels as a moon, there is no other source for their light. But the amount of light they enjoy depends on the amount of heavenliness and spirituality they have. And the type of light they enjoy depends on the type of heavenliness and spirituality. Consequently, the genuinely heavenly and spiritual quality of the Lord presents itself to the angel's outward side in the form of light. How many is it? Okay. Anyone could have seen the truth of this from the word, for instance, from the time when the Lord revealed himself to Peter, James, and John, since his face then shone like the sun and his clothes became like the light. The only reason he appeared this way to them was that their inner eyes were open. The prophets provide evidence for the same thing. In Isaiah, for example, where it deals with the Lord's kingdom in the heavens. The light of the moon will be like the light of the sun, and the light of the sun will be 7 times as strong like the light of 7 days. And in a passage from John also dealing with the Lord's kingdom, which is called the New Jerusalem. The city has no need for the sun or the moon to shine in it, since God's glory lights it, and its lamp is the Lamb. In another place as well, night will not exist there, and they will have no need for a lamp or sunlight, because the Lord God gives them light. Additionally, when the Lord appeared to Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders, they saw the God of Israel, under whose feet was something like a work of sapphire stone, and it looked like the substance of the sky for cleanness. Since the Lord's heavenly spiritual quality appears to angels' outward sight as a sun of moon. The sun in the word symbolizes something heavenly, the moon something spiritual. Who wants to read next? Maybe. The proof to me that he appears before heavenly angels as a sun and before spiritual angels as a moon. The Lord in his divine mercy opened my inner eyes to look all the way into heaven. There I saw clearly a radiant moon, ringed by many smaller moonlets, whose moonlets?
Moonlets.
It's like light of moon. Smaller moonlets whose combined light was almost as strong as the sun's. As Isaiah said, the light of the moon will be like the light of the sun. But the sight of the sun was not given to me. The moon appeared out in front toward the right. Amazing sights can be seen by the Lord's light in heaven, so many of them that they could never be listed. These sights consist of one scene after another representing the Lord and his kingdom, resembling scenes described by the prophets and by John in the book of Revelation. There are other symbolic objects as well. We cannot possibly see them with our physical eyes, but as soon as the Lord opens our inner eyes, the eyes of our spirit, similar sights can immediately present themselves to you. The visions of the prophets were nothing more than the opening of their inner eyes. This is what happened when John saw the golden lampstands, the holy city as pure gold, and its light soars like a very precious stone, not to mention much in the prophets. These considerations teach not only that angels live in the highest light, but also that heaven contains countless marvels that no one could ever believe. Maybe any comments? Until my eyes were opened, I almost inevitably cherished the same idea as others about the countless wonders that appear in the next world. I thought that neither light nor the kind of phenomena light creates, to say nothing of sensory powers, could possibly exist in the next world. This thinking grew out of a delusion that the well-educated adopt concerning immateriality, which they ascribe so broadly to spirits and to everything in a spirit's life. Such a delusion could yield only one way to conceive of anything spiritual, that because it lacked matter, either it was too vague to be grasped in any way, or it was nothing at all. That is what immaterial means, of course. The reality is diametrically opposed. If spirits were not organic, and if angels were not organic substances, they would not be able to speak or see or think. In the other life, the most miraculous things present themselves to the eyesight of spirits and angels, thanks to light radiating from its heavenly and spiritual origin in the Lord. These sights include parks, cities, palaces, houses, the most beautiful kinds of atmosphere, and much else besides. See the continuation concerning light at the end of the present chapter. And this is Genesis 13. Okay. I think today this reading is over, and I'm going to read the next time, tomorrow. Thank you, goodbye.